Right, good evening and welcome to Standard Bank Blue Table Talks. Our topic today is cybersecurity, and it's an important one for two reasons. The first one is that it comes under the spotlight as Eswatini marks National Eswatini Cybersecurity Awareness Month. The second and concerning one is that it falls under a time where there's an uptick in cyber attacks, cyber crime. And that's very, very concerning. So let's develop this conversation further with two blue bloods who have expert knowledge in cybersecurity. I have Andisiwe Kayoni and Nogwanda Twala. I will let them introduce themselves, but before we get there, I just want to let you know that we value your input, and so we want you to engage with us. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Standard Bank Eswatini. We are live, so throw your comments on the comment section and want to interact with you. Andisiwe, Nogwanda, welcome to the program. I'm welcoming you to our program. It's my program because I'm asking you guys questions, so it's my show. I'll start with Nogwanda ladies first. Please introduce yourself to the audience.
Thank you. Good evening. My name is Nogwanda Twala, and I am a proud blue blood with Standard Bank, and I am the analyst cybersecurity in the bank.
Andisiwe?
Thank you. I am Andisiwe Kayoni. I've been with Standard Bank for some time now, industry veteran. I manage the cybersecurity program in Standard Bank.
Okay, industry veteran, I like that. Let's start with you then, since you're a veteran. You have been around for a while. Cybersecurity Awareness Month hasn't been around for a while. But because you've been around for a while, maybe you can give us a bit of an idea of what Cybersecurity Awareness Month is and what really makes the bank to be involved in this initiative.
So, excuse me, Cybersecurity Awareness Month is a global initiative. It's not just Eswatini. So while the world celebrates or recognizes its Cybersecurity Awareness Month in October, we do it in November. So that's because I think in 2018 or 19, the Eswatini government recognized a need to just elongate the conversation and sort of get the nation up to speed with the cybersecurity trends and basically how to keep yourself secure. We are lucky at Standard Bank because the conversation on cybersecurity is just led from the top. So it doesn't matter how far up the organization you go, the tone is the same. We want to keep everything that we do, our people, which are the center of our focus, always secure. And that is why we have many, many initiatives that we run in the month, and we basically just focus on our people. By our people, we mean basically our staff, we mean our customers, and we mean Eswatini at large. Even if you don't bank with us, even if you don't subscribe to any of our services, any of the messaging that we put out is very much applicable to you in whatever financial institution you use. But I do invite you to try our very great product offering. I'm sure we can have a solution for you as well, no matter what your banking needs are.
Yeah. And I can certainly attest to the fact that it is applicable to everyone, and especially Emaswati as well. I'm really happy that you are bringing everyone to the road with you guys and holding everyone's hand. This show is testament to that. Nogwanda, let's come to you. What are some of the key takeaways that a viewer that's watching at home should take away from this month and these conversations?
Okay, thank you. I think it's important when Andisiwe says it extends past our staff and past our own customers. It is a conversation that many organizations are having during this month. We've been receiving messages from different organizations alerting us about what's happening. So the key takeaways that I would want people to remember is that this is an awareness month, but it should extend past this month and go into our daily conversations with our families and our kids. We are in the cyber world and we're in a digital era, and we need to make sure that everyone is aware of the risk that exists. And if we are aware of the risk that exists, and what can we do as individuals to ensure that we are safe? And so many tips are being shared on how to make sure that you are in the internet safely, and as well as for your kids, and practice safe surfing.
I
Yeah.
want us to go back to what you touched on earlier. You said people should be aware of the risks. Maybe we do want to elaborate on what these potential risks are for the benefit of the viewer, of course, and I know that's going to be my segue to Andisiwa's next question.
So there's a lot of cyber criminals that we have been seeing during for a very long time, and it's as the technology, so do their methods. There are scams that are going on. Our elderly people are being scammed. Phishing emails that are being sent, and links and fake websites that are being created. And basically, what they're trying to do is hack your personal information and eventually get access to money. So we need to make sure that we are aware that these people do exist. This is a career to them, and you cannot maybe think it won't happen to me. It's a conversation like Kashan, and no, we are all at risk, each and every one of us. They can target you, and so it's best for you to be aware of that.
Yeah. Speaking on the implications, as I come to you, Andisiwe, she's speaking on something that made me think about just crime in general. If there's crime, there has to be strengthened capacity of security. Looking at all these implications, how is it important and how difficult is it to keep ourselves secure, very safe?
So in Eswatini, the government reported that to date, over 170 million has been lost to fraud and cybercrime. So that's a large amount of money, and for the most of it, it was avoidable. So contrary to what may be common misconception that it's difficult, it's actually not. So there are the basics that maybe from an organizational level, each small business, each small company, there are basics that they can implement, follow, to ensure that as they handle customer information, as they handle customer money, as they conduct business, they are protected and they are not exposing themselves to cybercrime. So these basics include just general awareness. It doesn't have to be conducted by a cybersecurity professional and a psychologist or any specialty. You could literally just go off Google and look for 5 ways I can protect my small business. You will get the best results, and trust me, of that, you will find that all 5 are things that you can implement in your company. This is talking to multi-factor authentication. This will probably talk to general phishing awareness. This will talk to a wide array of things that we need to be cognizant of as we conduct business. And for individuals, the one thing that comes to mind is basically how you interact with the internet. It's very key that as you browse the internet, if it's too good to be true, it definitely is. Yeah. So as you browse the internet, if you see a good offer on the internet, someone is trying to sell you something for the low, do verify. If someone is promising to multiply your money, grab a calculator. If this person is promising that in 3 months, if you invest everything if the math says in 3 months you will have made $1 billion, you have to ask yourself, why isn't this person the richest person in the earth? You know, if they have that ability to exponentially grow your money, then why aren't they growing their own? So as people, as we browse the internet, as we interact with the world at large, because no one knows you're a cat on the internet. So we have to be cognizant. And then also, while on the subject of just how we interact with the internet, it is also very important to protect your accounts. That is enabling your own multi-factor authentication in things like your Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, or whatever, any other platform that you may use. Because what generally happens is these people use very simple phishing methods to hijack your account, and then they use the account to conduct very effective schemes to your network, because they are leveraging off the trust that you have created with people. So as you are browsing the internet, just make sure that you keep yourself safe, but also make sure that your accounts cannot be used to then conduct other accounts, fraud for other accounts. And so it's keeping yourself safe and it's keeping your community safe.
It's quite interesting. You're saying they're leveraging off of your trust on other people, but also we are in trying economic times. They could also be leveraging off of that. And so I think what you are emphasizing on the multi-factor authentication, all those things, people really, really need to be aware of those things. No wonder it's the fourth industrial revolution. Mobile banking is here. It's undeniable, indispensable at that. I just want to hear from you. What is Standard Bank doing to reduce the risk of customers falling victims to cyber attacks?
I think, first of all, this conversation alone does a lot, because as we have our own security controls internally, our customers need to be aware of how they can also assist. Because for we have our mobile applications, we have our smart app, we have our internet banking, and so these they're because we have the cyber criminals that always a loophole somewhere, right? And our responsibility is to make sure that our systems are up to date. They need to be upgraded, and what then the user can assist with is, when we take out those upgrades, you need to then always make sure that your device is up to date. Download those upgrades to ensure that the security controls that we implement are actually effective on the applications that you use. And we also have introduced a unification of your authentication between our smart app and our internet bank. So just to allow for a single sign-on concept. So before we had you would have a different login credential for the smart application and different login credentials for your internet banking. So now that has become unified, and it's also a means for us to secure our applications and to create a safe cyberspace. So we are involved in also a lot of external activities. One that we also engage with ESCCOM on these awareness trainings, and just to make sure that we are also up to date, because it is constantly changing and constantly evolving. And what happens is, so many things are introduced, and we need to stay up to date with what is happening and make sure that our systems are safe, and all our banking applications must be safe for our customers.
And you speaking on ESCCOM rather, they are the regulator. One ought to answer. Do we have a legal framework that accompanies all these issues that we are trying to address? And I'm asking this because ESCCOM a couple of months ago, in fact, at the beginning of the month with the Ministry of ICT, they did launch a national strategy on cybersecurity. And I think that that's part of, the drive to strengthen our legal framework on cybersecurity. Do we have a good legal framework that we can say, I can be comfortable as I browse through the internet, especially my Standard Bank, because I'm a Standard Bank client myself?
So as an organization at Standard Bank, we do have frameworks that we abide by. Not necessarily from ESCCOM, but for cybersecurity in general, we have frameworks and we have standards on which, when we create our applications, we need to be compliant to.
Right.
So there's a lot of aspects that then we need to ensure that our applications go through in order for that security to be established. But I think when it comes to a local framework, that's a department best spoken to by ESCCOM, but there's a lot that they've pulled the different organizations into for us to have a conversation on how to extend, if I can say, this space, because cybersecurity is not as popular as it is in our country as in other countries. So we need more professionals, firstly. So we need more people to come into this space, and for every organization to have a security professional internally that can be able to be responsible for specifically the security aspect of that organization.
Yeah. I want us to go for a net break. I have a good question for you, Andy Siwe, taking on from her answer. But let's go for a net break. We have a good ad break right now. Welcome back to the program, and thank you for staying with us. We are still discussing cyber security, a great initiative by Standard Bank to educate us on cyber security. Andisiwe, earlier you were speaking to us about how people scam us, the different tactics that they use. You used a word called phishing. That's what scammers use. I'm also wondering, though, I've received a message myself, I've been a victim, but I didn't subscribe to what they sent me. I received an email that looked like it was coming from Standard Bank, and I've received an SMS that looked like it was coming from Standard Bank. How can Gogo le Enhlangano Mahamba differentiate between a fake SMS from Standard Bank and a real SMS from Standard Bank?
Oh, that's a great question. Yes, and it's in line with our strategy of keeping our people at heart. So the idea is when someone tries to fish, they are trying to get valuable information. So there are a few basic things that we always have to keep in top of mind. The first thing is that the bank knows you, right? And if they need anything from you, they will ask you to either go to the branch or contact them. At no point will they ask you to transfer money. At no point will they ask you to help with help improve security. At no point will they ask you to share your username and your password. So for Gogo Ekaya, the first key thing is just knowing that your PIN, your password are yours and they're to be kept secure. So it doesn't matter whether someone comes under the guise of the bank or anyone who can invest money for you. If they are looking for basically the keys to your kingdom, then that's a no-no. That's a red flag. And in cases of emails, generally the language is it's almost too common to pick red flags now. Years ago, it used to be easy. We used to assume that it will have grammatical errors, but now, in any case, it seems very legitimate. But there are always very small indicators. Like actually check where the email comes from. Look at the email address that sent you that specific email. Is it the one that your bank always uses to contact you, or is it something different? Same with the phone number if you get an SMS. Look at the tone. Are they asking you to do something urgently? Are they giving you the option to sort of contact them using the channels that you know and trust? So if they are asking you to click on a link without verifying and doing it right now, then that's a red flag. So for our people at home, the general messaging would be phishing and all of these scammers will come and target your personal information. They will come and try and get you to share the information that we as your bank and all the other companies that you interact with work so hard trying to keep secure. And we don't want our people to be our weakest link, which is why the messaging is simple. Verify. If you cannot verify, pick up your call. If you're a banker, call your banker and ask them to check for you and verify. Go to your branch. Call the Standard Bank Triple C, which is our service center, our call center. The number is at the back of your card. So at any point, should you feel you need to contact us to verify, the number is at the back of your card.
You know what, Andisiwe, you are very right, because when I received that email, they did ask for my personal information, and I raised an eyebrow. I called Standard Bank, and they certainly told me those people are trying to scam me. Let me come back to you, and I suppose my next question speaks to your bank's security controls. As I use my USSD, there's a point where it's going to ask for my PIN, *120# and *334, I believe that's for Unayo. It's going to ask for my PIN. Two different PINs, we'll get to that question, by the way. My question then becomes, how secure am I after putting in my PIN?
That's a great question. So we implement encryption controls. What that means is when you send the information from your phone to us, it's not in a format. It's not in a way that people can read and understand. And how that helps is that it reduces the risk of the information being compromised while it's transiting between me and you, right? And basically what we have done, specifically for Unayo, because unlike with Unayo, the objective was basically ease of use at heart. And you can basically sign up from home. You don't need to visit the bank. We have put up more stringent controls to make sure that no one can come and pretend to be you and impersonate you and get access to your funds. So what happens with Unayo is you will get you have a 5-digit PIN for your channels, or you have a very long alphanumeric password for your internet banking. We will limit the amount of tries that you can put before we lock your account. And this is just to protect your account, because if we assume that you know your password, so now if we are seeing you failing to input your password multiple times, we get a bit suspicious, and then we lock the account. But unlocking the account is very easy. You just need to prove that you are yourself.
You do also have this recovery questions feature. I believe I have a friend who recently just hibernated from their old phone into a new phone, and they were really migrating their Unayo from their old phone into their new phone. They had forgotten their password, and so I think they had like 4 to 5 attempts. I stand to be corrected by you right here, so I'm happy. It asked them, what's your favorite book title, I believe. Is that correct?
So the security questions vary. You get to choose your own. And also your security questions are also very sensitive. So as you set your security questions, make sure that you don't go on the internet and then play some challenge where they ask you your date of birth or your favorite city or your favorite color, because you could be giving away your security questions, which someone can use to recover your account. But to correct you, for our e-banking, it's 3 attempts and then your account is locked. But yes, you do have that ability to set those recovery questions. Just another attempt to make it easier for people to interact with our channels and access our product offerings, even if the brain does get foggy sometimes. So yes, these security questions are a very critical step and they have to be protected. But also do ensure that you set them, because without them, what generally happens is you then have to go to visit your nearest branch to get a password reset.
And at that time, maybe you need your money conveniently and the bank is closed and you can't reach anyone. So I see where that can be helpful. Maybe before we go for an ad break on web responsiveness, one last question for you, Andisiwe. We just spoke on Unayo and digital banking. I've realized my digital banking password, you actually helped me set it up. And it's a long one. There's a requirement for it to have different characters, a character, a capital letter, a small letter, and it's long. But for my Unayo, it's only 5 digits. Doesn't that compromise my security on my Unayo? And why do we have a difference between these two passwords, these platforms? Yeah.
So that's a very good question. So generally, the difference between the security controls that we pick for our cell phone banking, Unayo, and our e-banking is how you interact with these platforms, right? So Unayo and cell phone banking being only on the mobile platform, it's only accessible through either the app or the USSD, right? So there's not a lot of outgoing internet traffic that happens. So unlike our e-banking, which you access through the internet, which is a very so one is more closed circuit and the other is basically open, right? Now, when you use your e-banking, your computer may be affected, your connection may be affected, our connection may be affected. So we need to ensure that you set a very long password, because we don't store the passwords in plain text. So if you call Standard Bank, no one knows your password. We use password hashes, and the longer the password is, or the more complex the password is, if it's an alphanumeric with all the lowercase, uppercase, it takes significantly longer to crack, right? So that's basically the difference. That's why you can rest assured that you are safe enough using your 5-digit PIN on your UNAIO, and you are safe enough using your long alphanumeric PIN on your e-banking.
Thank you for assuring me that none of Standard Bank employees know my password. I needed that. I want us to go for an ad break on web responsiveness. We'll be back right after this break. Don't go anywhere. All right, welcome back. Thank you for staying with us. We are still having a conversation on the importance of National Cyber Security Awareness Month, why it is important for you to be cyber secure and cyber smart. Andisiwe and Nogwanda have been kind enough to provide their insights as we unpack this question. Andisiwe, let's come back to you. We have seen an increase in mobile technology adoption. We have mobile banking, banking apps, fintech. We've literally spoke on some of them right before the break. The list is endless. What do banking customers need to know about security as they adopt a digital way of banking?
So, as we drive the conversation with our people, there is one thing that we always have in mind, and unfortunately, that's what the hackers always have in mind. People are the weakest link. Right? So, it takes too much time and too much effort to go trying to break down firewalls and trying to penetrate the systems just to get, it takes too much time. So what they try to do for the people in the bank is they try and send a phishing email and then get foothold inside. And for the people at home is they try send these phishing emails or try and social engineer their way to their username and passwords. So basically, the key observation or my key advice to our viewers at home is try and educate yourself a bit. Do not just be cyber aware, which is the biggest problem. The information is there. If you have, and the bank is always open to helping you. Right. That's part of our overall service offering. If you have a problem and you feel like, okay, this is a cybersecurity problem, you can go through the dedicated channels that we have, either through our social media or through our call centers. Say, guys, I have security-related questions. Can you post this? And it does trickle down to us, and we will give the best possible response. So we don't want our people to be the weakest link. I believe the slogan is Dipepise. Yeah, because we are doing it. So now it Dipepise.
Be cyber smart is indeed the slogan for the month. Nogwanda, I want to come back to you as an analyst, cybersecurity analyst. And I think this is a very important question because we do not just want to focus on the month of November. I know cybersecurity, the victims are always susceptible, and you know it's easy for the scammers. They're always looking for the next victim. We are wrapping up November in 7 days. I hope I'm correct, in 7 days. It's about to be December, and I'm sure the scammers will be out there for blood. What would you say to the general Liswati at home? What precautionary measures should they take as we continue with the year of 2023 and possibly even 2024?
All right. I think with the social media platforms and everything that we are doing on the internet, it's also important to follow the organizations you interact with. Companies generally have social media pages, and it's important for you to follow to get tips and for them to be able to tell you of anything that they have noticed recently, and especially going into the festive season, there's so much that's going to be happening, and there's so much that's going to be spoken on radio, on TV, and especially social media. So let us go into our social media to also find out the tips on how we can secure ourselves. And what I cannot stress enough is having a strong password. Because over and above just having a password, it actually has to be uncrackable, as Andy Siri said. It has to be uncrackable. So don't, because on our social medias, we share so much of our information. Right. We have wedding pictures, you post your kids, you post your house, you post your car, anything that you do, where you work, all this information is available on the internet. And cyber criminals generally will focus on your social media in order to get some information from you, because what most people do is have passwords that are related to dog names, favorite cars, and things like that, things that is of information that is easily available. So what is important is for you to set random passwords. Maybe just walk around town and don't then use ShopRite, but maybe see ShopRite and say just a phrase that's very outside of your everyday life. Because it is so easy to think that people are only on the internet, but these are people that we also know in our communities. So they get to interact with us on a personal level. So if someone wants to get something from you, King Chase, we'll probably hang around where you hang around. It's the festive seasons, we're out and about, and that's another way for them to get information from you and be able to access your accounts. So it is just to follow the social media pages, also for the right reasons, get the tips, change your password on a regular basis. Don't have a password that has been on your phone since you got your phone. And also, it also helps to use your biometric protection, which is your fingerprint. Some have voice recognition and face recognition, just so you have less things to have to remember of the different platforms that we have. Because we have 5 social medias, and you need to have a password for Facebook, for Twitter, for YouTube, for this and for that. So if you're using a biometric, we're just assuming that no one is going to steal your finger. Yeah. So it's a lot safer if you're using biometric protection.
You're speaking on something, sorry to cut you there, you're speaking on something that's very, very important. No pun intended, but we have a web of options in terms of platforms. And I'm just thinking, I've heard someone tell me you shouldn't have the same password for all your platforms. How important is that? Because I used to be the kind of guy who, I'm a simple guy. I just want to have one password. I don't want to stress a lot. Yeah. How important is it for me to have a password that's dedicated to every platform that I have?
It's very important, because if someone was to hack just one of your accounts, that means they've hacked all of your accounts. So if you have an account with another bank, FNB, Eswatini, and as well as Standard Bank. So if you're using the same credentials, but maybe let me use social media platforms. So if they hack your Instagram, they've essentially hacked all your accounts. And you're a social person. Yeah. Right, so you interact with a lot of influential people as well. And they can then use your account to do something and hack their accounts as well. So through you, they're able to get to other people. So if you have different passwords, you're just making it just a bit harder for them, because if they need to guess one, they need to guess another one and another one. It just increases this level of security.
I never thought of it that way. The ripple effect is really, really dangerous. Andy, so I want to come back to you still on the passwords. How important is it for me to have, or rather to change my password frequently? I've heard that's also advisable.
So it's a great, almost always recommended thing. I would actually go on a limb and recommend that you change your personal passwords. That's your passwords that you use for social media and all the other things we sign up for, at least once every 3 months. And then for the more important passwords, yeah, every 3 months. And for your more important passwords, that would be your bank, your work. Change that one every month. And the reason is simple. I mentioned earlier that passwords are not stored in plain text, at least at Standard Bank. And we use hashes, and so do many of these companies. So generally, because the hash is gibberish to the human eye, you can run that hash through a complex computer software, and with enough time, it would be able to figure out what that gibberish means and what it is in plain text. So the longer you have it, the more time it will take for the computer to guess it. Sorry, I mean the longer the text. Now, if you keep that password for longer, you are giving this person enough time to get it right. So if you change it often, by the time they get it, you've already moved on. Yeah. So there are also a lot of great tools that you can use to check if your password has been hacked. You can literally go on Google right now. There is a great site called Have I Been Pawned? You can check it, or just Google, check if my account has been hacked. You will get all of these options, and yeah, you will get to see where on the internet your username and password have shown up. And at first it's very scary realizing that, oh, actually my Google password was seen on the internet, and it's not always as a result of Google being hacked. Sometimes it's as simple as your friend sent you some game to play on Facebook, you clicked on it, and then it asked you to sign in using your Google username and password, as if looking exactly like the Google sign-on page, but it's not. And now there is someone out there who has your username and password, and they're now trying to sell it on the internet. So it's all of these things, and just when you rotate your password, you significantly reduce the risk to getting hacked and a potential breach of your account.
Really interesting, and thank you for that free class there on how we can check if we're being hacked or we're not getting hacked. No wonder you spoke on something that really touched me. I really need to, as soon as we are done with this show, I need to check if my passwords if people have been trying to hack my accounts, because like you said, I speak with a lot of influential people, and my social media is my currency, and no pun intended, my banking app is my currency as well. I want to come back to you as we are having this conversation. What I think we've established that cybersecurity is an everyday topic. It's an everyday topic. We cannot overemphasize that. What are some of the key takeaways that you want people watching this show to go home with?
I think more than anything, the reason why we have a focus on this specific period is just to try and reach as many people as possible. So if you have listened and taken some tips from what we have said, extend it to your cousin, extend it to your kids, extend it to your grandparents, because cybersecurity is not a well-versed or well-known career path. So, and even being cyber safe is not well known. So it's important for us to speak to the people around us. And as we end the show, please do change passwords everywhere instantly, and tell the people in your workplace to also do the same. It's very important that everything that we have spoken about is actioned on the user side, because we are the weakest link. People are the weakest link, and so we need to practically go into our phones and go on our computers and implement the controls.
I think what you are saying essentially is that we are all police against cybercrime, and we should all take the responsibility to spread the conversation. I have the same question for you, Andisiwe. You've alluded to the fact that we need to change our passwords every 3 months, and that makes 4 times a year. And I really need to look into that myself. I haven't been really great at changing my passwords. What are some key takeaways that you want our viewers to go home with?
I would like to start off by giving a shout out to ESCCOM. What they have done for Eswatini and especially the cybersecurity community is immeasurable. They have availed free courses. They have basically rallied the troops. They have kept the conversation going on long enough. And they're also going as far as just being the police around these controls. So we are here telling you these things. They are there at the background, making sure that they're in place. So with that sort of mini shout out, I would say of the pages that, as Noganda recommended, you should follow, ESCCOM is definitely one of them. They are on the forefront in the nation, just trying to get our people cyber safe. And as for from me to you, what I would want you to know is that you matter. Right? So if you have a problem, speak. If you are seeing your bank account do funny business, speak. If you are seeing your social media, your Facebook, all of a sudden you are selling people Forex, speak. And it's not just us at Standard Bank. There are so many other cybersecurity professionals in Swaziland, in industry, that you can reach out to. In fact, if you can find me on social media, do reach out. I'm always very happy to have a conversation, whether it's November, whether it's June, it doesn't matter. If you do reach out to me, if you do reach out to Noganda, we will definitely respond. So that'll be the key takeaway. Keep the conversation going. As Noganda said, in your family, in your circles, but if you have questions, do raise them up. We will be very happy to address them.
And I'll definitely be reaching out to the both of you as I go about my days. Thank you so much for joining us on the program. You've had a lot of insights from these two great experts on cyber security. I think the last one from me is that Dipepi, please do be cyber smart as you use the internet, as you use Standard Bank platforms. It's very important, and do change your passwords every 3 months. That's very essential, Andisiwe. Thank you for that tip. Thank you so much for joining us. It's a goodbye.